Hi all. Today is the last video on this project. Let me remind you that this is not a simulation of the evolution of real trees. I'm interested in modeling evolution in an abstract, mathematical way. Similarity with the real world is convenient. It's more pleasant to look at, easier to interpret, but I can change the rules of the created world anytime, which we will do today. In the last video, a stripe with a small amount of energy went horizontally. It's like day and night. Today, low-energy stripes will run vertically, from bottom to top. There seems to be no analogs in nature, but I will try to come up with a beautiful legend. Layers of fog rise rhythmically from the ground, going up. This strange fog easily transmits light, but inside the fog, photosynthesis is difficult or impossible. Let's see how the trees can adapt to such conditions. Here's a small educational program for those who are watching this series for the first time. The genome of the first trees was generated randomly. Each turn they grow, according to the genome. And if they can reach the age limit, they scatter the seeds into which the genome is copied. Sometimes it happens with a mistake, and this triggers the mechanism of evolution. If the seeds reach the ground, they will give life to new trees. Each turn, the tree spends energy on each of its cells. It receives energy from cells through photosynthesis. The amount of energy a cell receives depends on its position among other cells, as well as whether it is in the fog or out of the fog. For example, outside the fog, the sun energy equals 8. With the given cell configuration, they will receive such an amount of energy. Since each cell spends 10 units of energy per turn, such a configuration incurs a loss of 48 units of energy. The optimal configuration is when there is a gap between the cell layers. In this case, these cells will additionally bring 18 units of energy. And this is what happens if some of the cells are in the fog. The experiment basis is simple. I run a lot of simulations where the initial energy outside the fog and inside the fog equals 14. I gradually bring the energy level in the fog to 0. Then I begin to reduce the energy outside the fog. Meanwhile, the trees have to adapt to changing conditions. Got no time to adapt? I'm not to blame. In any case, no one will survive, since I want to find the minimum energy at which the trees are able to survive and see how they achieve this. Apparently not this time. Here we have beautiful trees. I slowly reduce the energy inside the fog. 1,200 generations have passed. I have brought the energy inside the fog to 3, and the shape of the trees is already different. By the generation 1,800, the trees have realized that it was better not to grow inside the fog. They overcame it with a vertical trunk and create a horizontal branch in an area where there is no fog. I gradually lower the energy inside the fog to 0. The current mode activated indicates in green the amount of energy the tree now has per each of its cells. The trees are T-shaped, but 300 generations have passed, and the shape has completely changed. Following 1,500 generations, branches appeared on the left side. By this time, I have brought the energy outside the fog to 9. With this level of energy, life has slowly faded away, meaning this species can successfully exist at the energy level of 10. Next simulation. At first, the trees looked like sticks growing to the right, then growing to the left, then growing in the form of a slingshot. And only after 4,600 generations since the day of creation, they have realized that it is best to overcome the fog quicker, forming a straight trunk. The result looks similar to the Pythagoras tree. This species has managed to successfully exist at the energy level equal to 12 outside the fog. I have brought the energy level to 11, and the world has slowly become empty. This is due to the fact that the tree, although beautiful, is not optimal. The thickness of the branch here is 3 cells. Next simulation. By generation 1300, the trees can already differentiate the layers of fog. The distance between the branches is 2 cells, but after 400 generations, it was reduced to 1 cell. This is good at high energy levels, but since I'm going to reduce the amount of energy, the lower branches will no longer have enough. Another 2,500 generations have passed. The appearance of the trees has not changed much. The energy level in the fog is now 0. With an energy level outside the fog equal to 10, the trees can successfully exist. I brought the energy level outside the fog to 9, and the world gradually faded away. Next simulation. 1,500 generations have passed, and the trees have learned to react to the layers of fog, but only with their left side. The mechanism is very good. The branch begins its growth, in any case, but sensing a lack of energy, it turns on the self-destruct mode and disappears down to the trunk. This can be seen at the very top of the tree, and where layers of fog come on already grown branches. Only after 2,000 generations did the trees appear that were able to get rid of their right, non-optimal side. The energy inside the fog is now 0. I have gradually begun to reduce the energy outside the fog. And one-sided trees have crowded out their less adapted two-sided counterparts. All my hopes were placed on this kind of trees. A straight trunk, no unnecessary details, branches dry out with a lack of energy. The tree could successfully exist at an energy level of 9. I have brought the energy level to 8, and the tree has died. Notice how quickly this all happens. In any case, this is still a record. Next simulation. 1,700 generations since the creation of the world have passed. The trees have a very interesting shape, but do not react to fog layers in any way. We reduce the energy level inside the fog, and a small miracle happens. The trees begin to react. Apparently, the trigger works on the amount of energy received. We just had to reduce the energy inside the fog. About 300 generations have passed. The shape of the trees has changed a little. I continue to reduce the energy inside the fog. About 200 generations have passed. The trees have changed even more. The right side is now horizontal, and offshoots sometimes grow on it. 500 generations have passed. The shape is still unchanged, but after 1,200 generations, the trees are no longer recognizable. I keep reducing the energy outside the fog. The trees get rid of unnecessary details, acquiring an optimal shape. This species successfully lives at an energy level outside the fog equal to 9. At an energy level of 8, it has slowly disappeared. I was thinking that if the energy level was less than 9, the trees would not be able to exist for a long time. But I was deeply mistaken. Let's move on to the last simulation. This is the future record holder. At the beginning, it did not look promising and did not want to grow out branches. I have slowly reduced the amount of energy, gradually bringing it to 10. It seemed that the species would inevitably disappear. But at the last moment, when the fate of the species was already sealed, a mutant with branches appeared. Here it is. And one seed from this mutant will survive and revive the whole species. An amazing, timely accident. Nearly 2,000 generations have passed. I have gradually brought the energy level outside the fog to 8. This is already a record, but the species is not going to die out. In my opinion, This is due to the fact that the trees have learned to synchronize with the cycles of fog coming out of the ground. As long as there is no fog near the surface, most plants remain at the grass level. They increase in numbers and accumulate energy. And as soon as a layer of fog comes out of the ground, the trees grow. Due to this synchronization, new seeds fall to the ground when the fog-free period has just begun near the surface. And the cycle repeats. New plants stay at the grass level, multiply quickly, accumulate energy, and wait for the fog to come out. There are no jumps in population size, as was the case for other species at minimum energy level, when the entire species disappeared during the next unsuccessful decrease in the number. I have gradually brought the energy level to 7, and the species continues to successfully exist. Such moments make me very happy. Through evolution, the trees themselves have found a way to survive on a minimal amount of energy. The method is not obvious. I would not have thought of it myself and realized it only by observing the process of evolution. Thousands of generations have passed, but the species is not going to die out. The appearance changes a little, but the principles of survival remain the same. At the end, a new feature appears. Pay attention to the lower branches that receive less energy due to being in the fog or in the shade of other trees. They decrease in size, thereby returning some of the energy to the tree and also reducing the amount of energy needed to maintain the life of the tree. The species have existed at an energy level of 7 units for tens of thousands of generations. It has already proven its amazing ability. It's time to say goodbye, and I reduce the energy level to 6. That's all. There was little hope that it could survive at the energy level of 6, but alas. This was the last video on this project. Then there will be another project on artificial life, but with a completely different principle of the genome. And in the nearest future, I plan to post a video with a project on swarm intelligence. There will also be a video with a bunch of formulas and a detailed analysis of the ant colony optimization algorithm. Then I'm planning a video on how thousands of agents can work together to create amazing patterns. That's all for now. Bye, everyone.